You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Before we get started, just want to say thank you very much to Chris from Alabama, who joined up on Patreon, patreon.com/pack_daddy. Again, you can sign up and support the show for as little as $1 per month. Chris, hang tight, dude. I'm trying to get an early start here. I'm trying to just speed run through some stuff today so I can make sure that one way or another I start getting some content over there. We have to get started on mock draft, so I'm hoping to get that going hopefully today. We'll see how it goes, but why don't we get started with Mr. Hold Up, Beer, Cheese. Come on, Benny.
Brian, beer, cheese, Benny.
What's up, dude?
Dude, Jim Leonard, man, that's the answer, bro. In my opinion, dude.
Yeah.
No, like, you may say I'm biased because I'm a Wisconsin Badgers fan, but dude, when Jim Leonard was defensive coordinator for the Badgers, I'm going to be honest, we had some okay players. Like, we didn't have, like, the greatest players and all that. But, dude, the way he was able to maximize the potential out of those guys, that's what made the Badgers defenses so good over those years when he was the coach, or when he was the defensive coordinator. Like, and I think he can do the same kind of crap with the Green Bay motherfucking Packers, baby. And, dude, he's, like, from here. Like, how cool would that be, man? He comes on the staff, wins a Super Bowl. Oh, my gosh, man. That'd be insane, man. So I would love it, honestly. But at the end of the day, sorry, it's freaking 5:45 in the morning. I'm going to start cussing like Chris from Alabama. No, I'm just kidding. At the end of the day, whoever we hire, I'm going to back. Because it's Green Bay or die, So I gotta back whoever it is they're gonna hire. It does not matter to me, man. Like, if they want to go with Al Harris, that wouldn't be my first choice, but hey, I'm gonna back him, dude, and I'm gonna be 100% behind him because what choice do I have? I don't have a choice in the matter of picking him, so I might as well get behind him 100%. So, anyways, hoping we get Jim Leonard, but if we don't, it's all right. And if we don't get other guys that you guys like, don't get upset. I mean, it is what it is. Like, we got Jeff Hafley, and we all remember when we got Hafley, we're like, what the hell? What kind of hire is that? Like, nobody knows how this guy is. It ended up being pretty good for us. So, hey, they could just pick some random person we don't know, and then they end up being good. So, just try to stay optimistic.
And obviously the Gannon news hasn't quite hit for everybody. I'm guessing it will soon, right? Yeah, 10 o'clock. Chris from Alabama calls it 10 a.m. I'm starting to get a little nervous about the Gannon thing. I'm with you. I'm going to support whoever, whatever, all that good stuff. I don't know, man. I just the more I think about it, I don't know enough for my opinion to matter as much as it is. In other words, I wish I could convince myself better that, obviously Matt LaFleur knows better than I do, et cetera, et cetera. I'm really getting nervous about this Gannon thing. And I'm hoping, I'm trying to help you guys out as far as understanding it and seeing some of the positives and whatnot. It's not working on me as well as I wish it would. So I'm hoping maybe some of you guys call in and are super excited about it. Chris from Alabama, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama. Sunday morning, trying to get out and beat this old terrible rain that we about to get down here. I know y'all probably going through it up that way.
You poor thing. You got rain coming. Man, it is nonstop negative around here. I keep thinking, when is it going to frickin' warm up? I don't know why I expect it to warm up. It's like the coldest part of the year. It's always like, January, February is just frickin' the worst. But, yeah, I feel bad for you and your rain.
As far as all the snowing thing that's been going on last couple of days, I was actually about to get ready to call in and speak on the Jim Leonard interview and everything, and look at my phone, and it looks like we hiring Jonathan Gannon as the defensive coordinator. Well, I mean, it's done now. Wouldn't have been my first choice, like I said on my last call. I was really intrigued about Foster, and it would have been nice to bring in Al Harris. That's just Packer bias. Like I said, that was unknown. But Jim Leonard would have been pretty much my obvious choice, but they went with Gannon. So I don't know if he called plays in Arizona while he was down there. I think they had a DC that did that. I'm not sure. But, I mean, I had to look into it. I know he had success in Philadelphia. We got him that job. It's been so many years removed. I think Gannon been down there like 3 or 4 years coaching in Arizona. So, I mean, I guess we'll look into him. I'm pretty sure Clayton going to break down the schemes and everything. And probably going to break everything down on here as well. So, I'll be watching on that, and I guess, I mean, that's who they went with, so, we got to see what's going to go on, and if the scheme going to fit the players or how the roster, I mean, it's the offseason just starting. We might have a whole completely different roster, ain't no telling, but, I mean, it is what it is at this point. That's the guy, so I hope he don't come in and ask anybody did they catch the bus today. But, yeah, man, that's our guy, man. So just look into it and hopefully all go well. So most of the time, head coaches step back into the DC role. They might have a good year or two, get right back into the head coach thing. That might be what this is, So we might be ending up looking for another DC if he's successful after next season. But it is what it is. That's our guy. I guess we're going to have to get behind him and hope he can maximize our defense the way we want to maximize, man, so we can get that ultimate goal, get that championship, man. But that's all I had for today, man. And like I said, I'll be looking forward and looking into more about what Jonathan Gannon will bring to this team. Go Pack Go. I'll talk to y'all later. And y'all have a great and wonderful day.
Yeah, it didn't help that somebody posted another clip of Gannon being a complete freaking weirdo. I saw that and I was like, dang it, dude. Like, why are you such a freak, man? I don't know. We'll have to get some details. I'm guessing this is a Matt LaFleur hire. I don't want to assume that. But I will say, given that, the fan base was kind of on the fence with Matt LaFleur to begin with, if the Gannon thing does not work, and if, for example, Jonathan Leonard goes on to be a very good defensive coordinator, that's going in the Matt LaFleur column as far as reasons why you piss me off. So, we'll see how it goes. And the other way, too, if the defense ends up being fantastic, which it freaking should be when you have Micah Parsons and the people that we have, and then that goes to his credit. So we'll see. We just have to trust it. Again, get behind whatever it is we got going on. We'll support it. But it is what it is, man. It's we'll see how it goes. I obviously don't know, but I think I'm really genuinely nervous that this was not their first choice, and they panicked and pulled the trigger on a guy that they like. That was maybe their second choice that they were scared of losing. And, I can't super support that type of thinking. Assuming the reports are true that, yes, Jim Leonard did want to come here, I guess it's possible. You never know. Maybe, maybe he wanted to come here, but it wasn't 100%, and he could get wooed away by some other teams. I who knows? Who freaking knows, man? But there's just a lot of there's a lot here that I'm. The more I sit on it, the more I try to talk myself into it, the worse it gets. So that's why, again, I'm going to go ahead and rely on you guys to... We'll see what you guys have to say. I don't know.
Hey, Ryan, Beer Cheese Benny here.
Yo.
Just found out the Packers hired Jonathan Gannon as their defensive coordinator. I'm not... Shut up, dumb dog. This dumb dog doesn't shut up. I'm not upset. I'm not excited. It is what it is. I mean, they hired somebody, so that's good. Now we can get the guy in the room and start working on some things.
Yeah.
He did good in Philly. And honestly, maybe what he brings to the table is something that really fits our personnel and the guys we have. Obviously, I wanted Leonard, but, Packers clearly don't have interest in him. Obviously, they've passed him up 2 times now. So yeah, hopefully this is just not a guy that is gone in 2 years. Probably will be. Although, I don't know. He might solidify himself because he wasn't a very good head coach.
It seems to be the way that it goes. I mean, you end up with either a guy that sucks so bad he's gone in a couple of years, or he's so good he's gone in a couple of years. I guess that is the benefit with Gannon, is there's a chance he's good and doesn't get hired away because people saw how terrible the Arizona experiment went. Which is another reason why I like these kinds of hires in general, the guys that, the overqualified, as I call them, guys, because they're less likely to get hired away than a guy who's successful, for the first time, because they get automatic head coaching looks, because nobody knows that they're going to suck at head coaching yet. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how she goes, I guess.
So maybe he can be a pretty damn good defensive coordinator. I don't know. I would love to hear you break down kind of the types of defenses he runs. I mean, I have yet to look into it myself, but I know you might have much more time on your hands and be doing this anyway. So I'd love to hear about it. But yeah, I mean, it's all cool. I'm going to be optimistic about it. I hope that he can unleash Parsons after the injury and the rest of the guys, and hopefully he's good and helpful for the draft. Hopefully he can draft some good ballers for the defense he wants to run. So, yeah, man. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, so on today's podcast, I'm hoping you guys all tuned into that. What I did is a little bit different than what I've done in the past, but it's kind of just my evolution in thinking on this, because we can't know what his scheme is. We can only know what his foundations are, and then, we'll see what he does with that coming to Green Bay and trying to apply that to our team and our players. That was the other thing that kind of freaked me out, was that, his biggest influence is the guy that just got canned after like a year in Dallas because the defense was so bad. But, maybe that was just the players or something, I don't know, whatever. I don't freaking know, man. I'm it's fine. But, we'll start with that. And like you said, or like Chris was saying, Clayton will probably do a little bit more in-depth on the schematics of it, of his foundations, roots, especially Philly, I'm guessing, is what he would hone in on. But, we'll see. Again, all we can know is what his roots and his foundations have been, what he's done in the past. Maybe if you really wanted to dig in, kind of look at how he used individual pieces, go back throughout his history and find guys that are similar. But even then is going to be kind of tricky because, if you say, Xavier Rhodes back in Minnesota, well, he's possibly moved off of that style of defense, So it's hard to know. It's hard to know, but I guess we'll see. And even when we get here, I feel like we won't know, because every time guys get here, we have a defense, and then they change that defense, and then somebody gets hurt, and we have to adapt that defense, and it evolves even as it's here. So, the best I can tell you relatively confidently is that you'll probably see a continuation of the 4-3 defense. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got Dakota.
What's up, Ryan? This is Dakota, that nerd in Tennessee. So, I know everybody's probably calling about the Gannon hire. I already did all my complaining on Twitter.
Okay.
And went back and said, now that my complaining's done, I'm going to be cheering for him the whole time. But I saw, what was it, Easton Butler put out one tweet of him talking to a player.
Yep, the pew-pew-pew thing, right?
Yeah, that man is Michael Scott.
Dude, I'm saying.
Like Jonathan Gannon.
Yes. That's who it was. It was Easton Butler posted that video, and it's like, oh, come on. Dude, the look on the... So he's I'm guessing this was like when he had recently got hired and he walked in and he was greeting a player. I'm not sure, but he walked in. It was a one-on-one. He's in his suit. The players all relax. And the player's kind of like, he's got a smile. They do a handshake, whatever. And the guy's trying to talk to him, and he's going like, pew, 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 out of nowhere. Just starts going, pew, 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 pew. Talking over the guy. And you can see the look on the guy's face, the player's face, as it just slowly drops. And he's like, yeah, dude, like, anyways, you're freaking weird. He is, you're right. He's Michael freaking Scott, man.
Freaking Michael Scott. All of the awkwardness.
Yes.
And strangeness and weirdness. Like that man I think we're going to find a lot of enjoyment in those interactions. Being major Office fans, maybe more so.
Dude, I can. Somebody needs to do the face swap thing with Scott's tots, but put Jonathan Gannon's face over that.
Than what he's going to bring defensively, but whatever. I mean, he might do really well. But I just had to put that out there. This man is Michael Scott. It's incredible. He's weird, and to be honest, I kind of love it. But hey, I'm also weird, so. Peace.
That, or take that video clip of Who Took the Bus and just do like an audio dubbing of like some of the Scott's Tots audio. Like, who knows what I'm going to say next? And he kind of raises his hand and look around. Nobody else is raising their hand. No? Okay. Does anybody have intuition? Anybody know what that is? Does anybody know what's going to happen next? Oh, Lord. Yeah, I'll play that clip on, but again, I'll always encourage you to go find the clip because the video makes it always so much worse than the audio. But it's it's so clean in the beginning. He comes in, he's like, "What's up, dude?" Gives him like a daps him up. Like he looks like he knows how to kind of, he can do the handshake and the high five and the bro hug thing, and it looks smooth, right? He's got the confident smile and everything. Like, yeah, this looks like a coach. And then out of nowhere, just pew, 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 pew. And it's like, why did you do that? What are you doing? You're such a freaking freak, dude. Omar, what's going on?
What's going on? So, Omar the Firefighter, how y'all doing? So, I ain't gonna go on no Christian Alabama rant. But I'm not feeling the defense coordinator, not saying that I hate him, but I wasn't a fan. I almost like you preferred Jim Leonard, and I love the Broncos defense, especially the cornerback play, but just in general, the Broncos defense as a whole is great. It's Sunday now. I'm pretty sure they're going to lose, okay? Because you just ain't got no quarterback. It's hard to win without a quarterback, but who knows? But I would have at least waited to see if they lost and then offer Jim Leonard the job. Because the defense is great. He's young and up-and-coming coach, and he's, just in general, like, I really enjoy him. The dude we got, man, like, he was only good because of what the Eagles did, and like you said, that was just for 1 year. I keep blaming, I look at a lot of Eagles fans blaming him for the reason why they lost him.
Sure.
But anyway, they basically...
Well, and it was never, like, elite. The first year was not great. And then it improved, right? Which is great. It's Gannon, right? He improved the defense, and good for him. And then they had a good year. But it was like they were like 8th in scoring, and I think, I don't know, like 4th or 2nd in. So it was the other one was kind of impressive, I guess. It was, but like barely top 10 in points, and then top 5-ish in yards. I mean, I can go look at the DVOA and see or whatever. I think I already did, but I forgot what it was. And I think it was like 5th or something. So it's, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't anything shocking. I mean, again, Fangio came in 2 years later, and it's better than what Gannon did. They were like second and first, I think, or something. It's, I mean, if that's our ceiling, is that he can take the best group of defensive pieces and make them eighth. Wow. I look forward to that. I look forward to being eighth. I don't know. Yeah, in 2 years, by the way, being eighth, that would be wonderful. I'm trying not to be a pessimistic jerk, but I mean, it's just like I'm trying to focus on the positive, and I'm struggling to even find them. It's like, well, he was a defensive genius in Philly. It's like, no, he wasn't. What are you talking about? What did he do in Philly? He was there for 2 years. One of those years, they were kind of good. Okay, with a really good roster. Great.
It's kind of like, the Cardinals didn't have a good defense. So it's like, I'm just confused on why. Like, it wasn't like he was a high commodity. And, unless they were like, hey, I got this job offer from here, but I'd rather take it with y'all. But if y'all want to give it to me today,
right,
then I'm going to take it.
I'm wondering about that, too. If Gannon kind of played him a little bit, kind of like I think, Flores might have done with the Vikings, where it's kind of like, hey, look, I'm getting these calls, whatever, you better lock me up. And I'm sure that's normal behavior. I mean, agents do that stuff all the time where, that some of these teams are stringing you along, like the Packers are probably stringing you along just to turn you down whenever Jim Leonard becomes available. So you start putting the pressure on and saying, okay, well, he's leaving. He's going. He got an offer from, but he prefers you guys, but he needs an answer today, yes or no. Yes or no. Now, who knows? Maybe we'll find out in a handful of days that they decided they didn't want Jim Leonard and that they liked Gannon more than I don't know how we would figure that out. I mean, even if they said that, I don't know if I'd believe it. But, this was kind of their guy. They just wanted to give him an opportunity. And when they heard that he was leaving, they're like, no, screw that. We want Gannon. But, man, I need somebody to go to a podium and get me excited about this. I need Gannon to go to the podium and be normal and not be Michael Scott. And I need Matt LaFleur and Gutekunst and Policy to talk to the media and be like, this guy is like the greatest defensive mind I've ever spoken to in my entire... Like, I need something. Somebody get me jacked up about this freaking guy. I'm trying super hard here.
Listen, that's the only reason they would have hired him, because I feel like Jim Leonard would be way more qualified. So I'm not excited right now. It's not as bad as when we hired Joe Barry. I mean, Joe Barry made me throw my phone in the daggone river or something. Like, I would have been pissed at that, and I'm not even trying to bring up negative memories because that was traumatizing. Because that was kind of like everybody knew it was going to be bad, and then it wasn't. It was like didn't turn out like how we thought. Anyway, but I'm down to give everybody a chance and stuff, but I wanted to bring somebody with like some more just good, strong energy. I wanted somebody like tough, or at least do a good job explaining things, breaking it down. And he didn't do a good job as head coach. And like I said, if his defense was good in Carol, his defense was good with the Cardinals, I feel a little bit better. And it's funny because I wasn't a Raheem Morris fan, but comparing, I think I might almost be like Morris better, and I don't even want Morris. Yeah. So it's just weird, especially like I said, I really was hype on the Broncos. The Broncos got a great defense, and I felt like that's something we could have did. But anyway, I can't wait to hear about your breakdown of his scheme and everything else, and let us know what we're gonna get, maybe. So anyway, go.
Yeah, and again, there's positives and there's negatives to absolutely everybody. And there's positives here. I mean, there's no question this guy is experienced. And one of the things I talked about yesterday is that this guy is in high demand everywhere he goes. You know what I mean? I mean, when the heck was the first guy's name? Can't remember. But that first job he got, Bobby Petrino. Petrino was like, I want that kid, and he took him with him to Atlanta. He was there with Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer gets a job. Zimmer's like, I want that kid who was like an assistant, defensive backs coach or whatever to come over here and be my DB coach. You know what I mean? When he was he was the, I think, DB coach or cornerbacks coach in Indy for the Colts. And the offensive coordinator gets a head coaching job for the frickin' Eagles Sirianni. And who does he bring with him to be his DC? That kid who spent a couple years as a DB coach, right? So everybody admires the living crap out of this guy, and everybody wants him with him. That might be the biggest sell. I think also another probably big sell for him is I can't think of anything honestly negative other than he's kind of goofy, and there's nothing like massive about Philadelphia that was amazing, but it wasn't bad. If you look at his track record as a DB coach, it was always good, and guys, first of all, seemed to like him, and the guys seemed to improve and be good. I mean, you know, Zimmer's corners and Indy's corners and all that, they and safeties did a good job. Everybody seemed to thrive under him. So that is certainly a positive. I mean, the only thing you could say kind of negative would be Arizona, and I don't think I even answered this question from, I think it was Chris. He was not the play caller. He turned that over to his DC, I forget his name, but the DC was the play caller, and he just focused on being a head coach. So even that, you know, you can't really... I mean, I'm guessing somebody can, I can blame him. Okay, you can probably blame him to some degree or whatever, but he was not the defensive play caller on that team. So, you know, look, I mean, our track record of knowing what to expect is not great. I think the defensive coordinator we were all probably most excited about was Pettin. I think we pretty quickly got excited about Halfley, and we were not excited about Joe Barry. This is clearly not as bad as Joe Barry, because Joe Barry had a terrible track record everywhere he went. And he was the only one that had that. That is not the case with Gannon. I want to be clear about that. This is not the same thing where it's a guy that's been unsuccessful in all of his stops and is now being given another opportunity. That is not this. So fingers crossed, and let's also remember we have a very good group of people. This is kind of similar to, we talk about, okay, wow, Philly, yeah, they had good players, so what? Guess who else has really good players? Guess who else has Micah Parsons and Lucas Van Ness and Devontae Wyatt and Edgerrin Cooper and Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams and an ascending Javon Bullard, who took a massive step from year 1 to year 2. And if he could take even half of that step from year 2 to year 3, is going to be an absolute stud at corner. Guess who else has some pretty freaking good pieces? In fact, that might be something interesting to look into tomorrow, kind of comparing what he actually had in Philly at that time, because it was a while ago. And obviously Philly has been a group that's had a good defensive unit for a long time, but like what iteration of that at the time I think is important. So maybe we'll take a second to kind of look at that and also dig into how he used those pieces and whatnot. I think we'll do that tomorrow for sure. Okay, why don't we just take a break here? We got a couple more. Omar, Jared the Uber driver, and Daniel from California. Those are our final 4 calls. And then we'll get out of here, so make sure you also get your calls in, please. I know we've been very much behind, so people tend to get hesitant when we get behind in calls. But we are no longer behind, so call in, get your thoughts in on the hiring. If you found any other freaking awkward. Maybe don't call in about that, I don't know. Just share it with me on social media so I can seethe in private. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
It was one of those Omar the firefighter. How y'all doing? Calling back because I said earlier I wasn't super thrilled with Jonathan Gannon as our defensive coordinator over Jim Leonard. But, doing a little quick research and saw somebody post. I won't shout out who posted, but the saw post that kind of made me intrigued, more intrigued, and made myself feel a little bit better, I guess.
Sure.
So I'll share a little bit of that with you fellow Packernet family. Maybe if you felt that way, it might change your mind a little bit. They say he's adaptable. He prides himself on not having a scheme. So he can be 3-4, 4-3. It doesn't matter.
And that was, and again, this was on today's podcast, but he credited Eberflus in Indianapolis for kind of teaching that, because apparently with Zimmer and Gray and the other guys he'd been with, it was a little more rigid. It was a little more, this is what we run, get on my level, go get me the pieces I need. And Eberflus is a little bit more, let's focus on teaching the guys to be disciplined and not make mistakes. And as far as the scheme, we'll try to adapt that more to the players, which is, again, why it's so difficult, especially I think today, because that's becoming more common, to talk about scheme, because we don't really know what that's going to look like, outside of the fact that most schemes honestly look the same. Everybody's in nickel defense. Everybody's running cover 3. I mean, it's kind of the same crap across the league.
He'll change it. We might place the lines, be a 4-3, then do the Bears, be a 3-4, which is, I guess you can do that if you coach it well. Our coach liked that he was the head coach, so he has that experience on managing a team and all that other stuff. He coached the defense in the Super Bowl as a DC, and they won, so that's positive. And basically, he likes to disguise his coverage, so the quarterback never knows what they're doing. I guess sort of, again, like the 3-4, 4-3, and not knowing if it's a cover 3, cover 1, it's changing consistently. So just to mess him up, that's what he does.
Sure.
So that and being multiple front 7, I guess we should be good. But most importantly, which this is the number one thing that convinced me, was he's a safe option. So if the Broncos won, we would have missed out. And like I said earlier, I think the Giants and the Chargers were trying to hire him as the defensive coordinator, and they didn't want a chance to lose him. And, our coach likes to play it safe, and it's better getting somebody that's established than getting a young project coach, who have to adjust to being a DC. So that makes sense. So I'm not too mad. It's kind of calmed me down a little bit. So I'm 100% behind Gannon, and hopefully he, proves all the doubters wrong and get us to be a top 5 defense. All right. Anyway, go Pack, go.
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly tell he's one of those young, again, I'll use the word brilliant. Maybe that's, overstating it, but that's just a description of a kind of coach. These young, brilliant guys that are fast risers. It doesn't seem quite as fast because of the route he took, where he took several years being an NFL scout. But again, everywhere he went, when people got new jobs, they wanted to take him with. He got fast promotions. He moved up from a quality control guy to an assistant coach to an actual coach to just on and on and on and up and up and up he went, all the way to head coach. And that was kind of when it was like, all right, maybe that's a step too far. Plus, I mean, it's a different skill set, especially when you pass off defensive coordinator duties to somebody else. You know what I mean? So what have you done? It's a little unfair to say what have you done to train to be a head coach, but I mean, everything you've done has been trained in the art of defensive schematics and play calling and game planning and all that. When you say, I'm going to hand all that over to somebody else while I focus on, game management and that kind of stuff, I mean, I'm sorry it didn't work for you, but it was a heck of a learning experience, I'm sure. And maybe it's time for you to get back to what it is you do best, and that is, kind of like Halfley in a way. I mean, he wasn't successful at Boston College. Not that was necessarily his fault. Boston College wasn't, a great team or anything, but he didn't like it, and it wasn't his thing. I mean, he's a defensive-minded guy, and he got excited about the prospect of getting back and being a defensive-minded guy. So, I mean, I think that this is something kind of similar, where you have a guy that got a head coaching opportunity, didn't go great, didn't probably like it. I'm sure he hated it. Arizona is known to be a place that is not fun for people to be. They don't really want to be there. Obviously, they weren't winning. He wasn't very well liked. I'm sure he wasn't super popular because things were going so poorly. And now he gets to go back and let somebody else, Matt LaFleur, handle all that bull crap. Why you get to just run a staff and be a freaking defensive guy again? I mean, it's also nice because it's, when in Philly, this is a big step up, and now you've got to control a lot more things. This is a step back. You get to kind of relax a little bit and put some of your issues on Matt for, some stuff, and you just get to focus on what you focus on, defense. So, I think that is the hope anyways. That's the big selling point, I guess, is that he is a very, very intelligent defensive mind. I mean, we just have to think of him as a Matt LaFleur. You know what I mean? He might not be the most grizzled, angry, roided out, like freaking the Detroit guy, crazy person that's just going to get players fired up because he's a former player and he knows, he's not Ray Lewis out there just screaming and getting people jacked up and motivated. Even though both of them were technically former players, for Gannon, it was like 5 seconds in college before he had a career-ending injury. For Matt, it was, obviously very small school quarterback stuff. I don't think that translates quite as much, especially given the positions, especially quarterback. I don't know that even if you played at a pro level, I don't know that you get credit for that. Be like a punter. It's more intellectual than, linebackers coach or something. But I think that's the hope. You've got two Matt LaFleurs. You got an offensive Matt LaFleur and a defensive Matt LaFleur, and that is something to get excited about. So let's just hope that it translates. And again, we'll continue learning. Omar, appreciate you calling in with a couple extra little data points to plug into the old data bank there. See what part 3 brings here.
This I guess will be a quick part 2. I was watching the championship game NFC, and I was rooting for both teams for 2 different reasons, but mainly I was rooting for Devontae Adams.
Sure.
I wanted him to get a ring. I feel a little bit bad for him, but then, I didn't want Stafford to have more rings than A-Rod. So I was
true.
like a little mixed with that. But good thing that I'm going to have to root for the Seattle against the Patriots, because Patriots don't want to hold my 2 balls anyway. But it's just cool knowing that the Vikings let that QB go and he ended up going to the Super Bowl. So it'd be sweet if he won it. It's just like another diss to the Vikings, like y'all big dummies, y'all had a QB and y'all let him go.
Exactly.
So I just think that's hilarious. Also, man, you talking about pressure on Van Ness because. Man, Jackson Smith-Njigba is killing it at wide receiver, and just knowing that he was right there for us.
I know.
I mean, I got love for Reed. He's a great, great receiver, great pickup for a late second-round pick. But just it's like another level with him. What I take it if we would have got him, we wouldn't have got Golden, and I got mad love for Golden. And he got more speed than Njigba, but we'll see if he can, who ends up being the best at the end of their careers. But Njigba is killing it.
Yeah.
It's crazy how good he is. But anyway, I guess we'll all be Seahawks fans because we can't cheer for the daggone Patriots winning. They're going to take our title town name from us or whatever winning. So, but hopefully it'll be a good Super Bowl. And you already know who I pick. So who is it that you will be rooting for? Anyway, go Pat. Go.
Yeah, I mean, I have reasons for disliking both, but I mean, it gets to the point where, I have reasons to hate just about everybody at this point because they've slighted us in the postseason at some point or whatever. The Patriots obviously went on their run, and I hated them with Tom Brady, so I don't want them to win. And Seattle. But, I mean, both of those things were kind of a long time ago, so, you got to start letting some of that stuff go. Otherwise, you're just going to be miserable all the time because your biggest quote-unquote rivals are going to be winning Super Bowls every year because everybody's your biggest rival because they slighted you at some point. But yeah, I think that's a fair point with Seattle, and I think they're the better team. I know some people root for the underdog kind of thing, but I think I'll be rooting for the most deserving team, which would be Seattle. And then the extra added pain to Vikings fans is a nice little bonus, knowing that they had a Super Bowl winning quarterback on their team and just let him walk right out the door. So yeah, it would be hard to not root for that. But yeah, the Jackson Smith and Jigba thing is tough, especially since, going into that guy was like, all these Ohio State receivers had come out and had lots of success, and he was like heads and tails better than all these other guys. And it was like, no way the Packers even have a shot at him. He's not going to fall that far. He's too good. He's too this, that, whatever. And then he started to fall. And not just like on draft day, but just like the perception of him over time during the draft season, he started to fall to the point where, I think he's going to be there for us. And it's just, would we take him? And then he started to fall even further to the point where it's like, should we even take him? And obviously the Packers are in the camp, along with the rest of the NFL, of feeling like he wasn't actually worth all that hype that he was getting. Well, turns out he was. So that freaking sucks a little bit. The other guy, I think, who was it, Witherspoon? That was another guy that was supposed to be dominant that we, I don't know, we ended up not selecting. So, no, Christian Gonzalez is the other one. The only thing that I will say that's stupid about this is on draft day, there were definitely Jackson Smith and Jigba guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to pretend that there weren't. But, we always look back on only the guys that are good. You know what I mean? We only look at the guys that are successful and say you're stupid because you didn't take those guys. There's a lot of other guys that people were very, very, very high on that the Packers also didn't pick that could have been complete disasters. And, of course, we get no credit for that. or Gutekunst gets no credit for that, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba was taken at 20, which means there was 19 teams that passed on him. How much you want to bet that we're not the only ones who have a guy that isn't as good as Jackson Smith and Jigba? Heck, the number one pick in the draft was Bryce Young. I'm kind of thinking you'd rather have Jigba than Bryce Young. At this point, C.J. Stroud at 2 is not looking great. Anthony Richardson at 4 is a complete dud. I'm not sure what Paris Johnson is doing. I haven't heard Tyree Wilson's name since draft day. He went 7 to the Raiders. That's a pass rusher. We got a better pass rusher than the Raiders did. They picked at 7. So, yeah, it's frustrating, but, again, we can't always look at things through this lens of I'm only going to look at the best pick that got picked at, like, some random selection, and then because our guy isn't as good as that guy, then it was a failure. You understand that nobody can pass that test? Nobody can pass that test. There is no GM today, tomorrow, in the past, in the future that can, has, or ever will pass that test. Just so we're clear about that.
Howdy, this is Jared back from Texas. So my wife told me that Green Day is playing at the Super Bowl. Is that true? If that's true, that's wild. And then also...
See that on Facebook?
What was I going to ask? Oh. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Jonathan Gannon was hired as our DC.
See that.
I saw your podcast and I saw the news and I was like, oh, wow. The Packers was looking out for your podcast and they're like, let's pivot. Let's get out of this. Let's go to Jonathan Gannon. I don't know. Can't wait for you to hype him up. Hopefully the hype works. Go back up.
I'm trying, man. I mean, there's like I said, like I've been saying, there's good and bad for everybody. I guess I'm just feeling some anxiety about it a little bit, especially since I really feel like he may not get hired. I don't know, but I just have a very distinct feeling that Jim Leonard will get hired away and he will do a good job. Now, he might go to a terrible situation and may struggle, but I don't know. We'll have to see and keep an eye out on how that goes. I do think Green Bay has, again, I mean, how many people get to walk into a situation with Micah Parsons? You know what I mean? I also think anybody that fails with Micah Parsons, and I know he's not going to be there the whole year, whatever. I don't really care. Presumably he's going to be here for multiple years. Hopefully Micah Parsons isn't going to be hurt next year as well. I know that's not the entire defense, but there's a lot of pieces here. You freaking suck if you can't make this a good defense. I'm sorry. So I don't know. I just hope everything goes well, I guess, All right, Daniel from California.
Hey, Denver from California. I like the hire. The few things that I see is, I forget the guy's name, but it's one of the Twitter coverage guys. I think it's Matt Porter's guy, whatever that guy's name is, but he said they had the like one of the best disguise rates in the league coverage bus. It's just they ran out of talent because of injuries. And that makes sense. And these guys were running some crazy schemes because they just didn't have the horses. And I love that. And then on top of it, like, I know the HBO Hard Knocks thing makes them look bad, but I watched a clip of him yelling at some fans driving to a game. I'm like, you know what, dude? If that's the guy who is the one that's like behind, like when the cameras aren't around and he's just yelling like I thought he was really funny when he was yelling, "We're gonna destroy these guys," right? But I got fired up a little bit, so I don't know if you can find that clip, but I'm gonna be optimistic because I'm trying. I always try to be the glass half full like Packer fan, and I know sometimes I'm like the only thing is like because there's just some things that just like why did that happen? Like we don't show up sometimes. It's like is that a LaFleur thing? And it's just like, well, that goes back to, and I think that's just an NFL thing, because that goes back all the way to, like, the 2000s, and then, when we had Mike Sherman, like, we've had good teams that just didn't execute, and it's just really what it is sometimes it just doesn't go your way, and just not to go on a long tirade, but Jonathan Gannon, I'm excited to see press conferences and see this guy talk because I don't think he is who Hard Knocks made him out to be. Go Pack, go.
Well, there is this conspiracy that Hard Knocks tried to make him look bad. I don't think that's true. When has Hard Knocks ever done that? And the fact of the matter is Hard Knocks tried to make that, they seem to try to make that like a cool speech. They put like the hardcore music to it. They didn't put like that, dinky, dinky, dinky kind of music to it to make him look stupid. He did that to himself. He's the one that gave the speech, right? It's kind of like some other, they've got like these undercover journalists or whatever that'll, expose all this whatever's going on. And people are like, oh, that was edited. It's like, bro, he said the words. What are you talking about? Like, you're saying AI edited it so that those words came out of his mouth? What are you talking about? It was edited. I mean, it was bad, And again, they tried to put like cool music to it, and it was still bad. And then the other clip I find of him is him being even weirder than that. No music, no editing. So I mean, I'll try to keep looking, but I think the Hard Knocks trying to make him look bad thing is. I mean, again, I don't think Hard Knocks has ever done that. That's not like how Hard Knocks operates. They try to make everything like hardcore and cool. Like, yeah, cool, Hard Knocks. We're going to smash people. That was his, like, introductory press conference. I mean, it's just, they put it in the show because, like, this is, like, the seminal moment. This is it. This is the big speech. And that's what he did. So, it is what it is. But, as far as, how much does that play in, I don't know. Again, I don't know and I'll never know. But there's clearly another factor here. Look at the Super Bowl. They go out and hire, the Seahawks go out and hire a new head coach. He's this defensive guy, this sort of tough, hard-nosed, guy leading like the most coveted defensive scheme in football. They go straight to the Super Bowl. The Patriots, what do? They go out and go get a culture guy. This tough, like, build a culture guy, year one, straight to the Super Bowl. And all the scheme guys, LaFleur gets knocked out. McVay gets knocked out. Shanahan gets knocked out. McDaniel gets fired. I mean, obviously it's 1 year, but, you know, the culture guys are running circles around the scheme guys right now. But is what it is, you know what I mean? So we actually did get some more calls coming in, which I appreciate, but we are going to get up out of here. We'll save those for tomorrow. Appreciate all of you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.